Welcome to Business Over at Brew. Nectar here with you again. Pleased to be joined in this episode by Sage Mackly from Funky Planet Toys. Sage, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Well, just tell us a little bit about your journey to being a business owner. You've been in business 3 years now.
Yep.
How did we get there?
So my husband and I, we grew up in Minnesota.
Okay.
And went to college there, and then left Minnesota, and we had sort of a big journey around the United States, and we lived in Europe for a while too. And so just kind of trying to find our place, trying a lot of different, areas of work and stuff like that. And so we ended up in Virginia, and we wanted to get out of there. We wanted to go back to the Midwest where we came from, but not back up to Minnesota where it's too cold up there. Yeah. So we just took a lot of road trips, and we found Alton, and we really liked it here. And we wanted to start our own business. We wanted to try opening a store. We both had been in retail before, but in very different fields. My husband was in cigars and I was in wine. And I also worked at a children's museum for a while, which I really loved. That definitely taught me a lot about toys and play and things like that. But we've always loved toys. We've always had a big board game collection, and just kind of been big kids who never grew up. And so there were already brands that we knew and things that we liked. Right. So we knew that was what we were passionate about. That was what we were going to try. And so we moved to Alton and then started working on it right away. We didn't have a space for the business, but we were dealing with all the paperwork and legal stuff and finding companies and doing research. We had a whole bunch of boxes of toys just sent to our house, sitting in our bedroom in a pile. And then we found the space right around the corner on Broadway. Just got everything set up, did a bunch of painting and shelf installing and stuff like that. It was a photography studio before us. So it was kind of plain colors. And so we had to add a lot of colors, of course. And moved in there, opened our store in July of 2021.
Right.
So, yeah.
Let me back up just a little bit, because when you live here, as a lot of our viewers do, and I have for all my life, you think you just have a different perception of the area when you live there all your life.
Yeah.
You grew up there, I think. And I think there is a little bit of a mentality in our area of, I've always said one issue we have is kind of this inferiority complex. We don't recognize some of the great things that we have to offer.
Totally.
And so what was it? What were a few things about Alton that you said, this is where we want to settle down?
Yeah. Well, we love being next to the river. I think that's just such a cool, it just gives the town such a feeling of place. And there's a lot of cool, nature areas along the river. We loved being close to St. Louis, but not in the city, having the small town feeling, and that it has its own downtown. It's not a suburb, but you can still get into St. Louis and do all the fun city things. And then there's just such a feeling of community at Alton that I think if you've grown up here and lived here your whole life, you don't realize that it's unique.
Right.
But it totally is, because people are just so welcoming. And we bring, a lot of our family lives in Minnesota and New Jersey and stuff, and they come and visit us and they all want to move here. Yeah. And so, just all the different things you can do during the summer, especially, it's the farmer's market, the muni band concerts, the night market, there's just so many community events, and people are just so genuinely kind and welcoming. It's something that you don't appreciate unless you've lived somewhere else and had the lack of that.
Yeah, sure. Well, and where you're from, summer lasts 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just full of mosquitoes.
Of course, while we're sitting here today, it's 115 heated.
Yeah.
In Minnesota, which is so bad.
Oh, it gets so hot up there too, though.
Sure.
People don't realize that.
Right. So 3 years in business now. What was it? Tell me about the excitement of that first day. I always like to ask business owners about when you open the doors. Man, what are you feeling?
Oh yeah. Just excitement, and then also, terror.
Sure. What have we done?
Yeah. And you don't have your systems in place. There's so many things you just forget about. I remember somebody asked, can I buy a gift card? And we were like, gift cards? We totally forgot about gift cards. Our gift certificates. So my husband was making something really quick in the computer, printing it on. It was just white paper with,
Right.
And our card reader broke down, I remember, on the first day. And so our neighbors at the time were Epicurean Fair. And so they had people going into their business and running their cards, and Martha was paying us cash. It was like,
but at least you had.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, a bunch of people came out for our first day, so it was super exciting. And just, you're just talking to people from open to close, so it was definitely like exhausting and so much fun.
Right. And you and your husband operate the business together. You said you guys are all in. There's no other. A lot of business owners have other jobs, but you guys, this is it, right?
Yep.
So talk about just a little bit of the process of how you go about selecting items for the store.
Yeah. So my husband is like totally a research whiz, and so he can just sit on the computer for hours at a time finding all these different companies. We deal with a lot of different sales reps who, they'll give us a line list, so they have 50 different companies that they sell, and then we go through each one and look, okay, is this something our customers would like? Is the price point right? Because we really try to make things affordable,
right,
but also quality, so we're always trying to balance that. We just recently went to the Astra convention, which that goes everywhere throughout the country, but it was in St. Louis this year, so that was really wonderful for us. We got to try a bunch of new toys hands-on and meet a bunch of new companies. So yeah, just a ton of research, and it's always kind of feels like a gamble when you bring something in. And something that I learned from when we opened till now is you've got to be like humble and listen to your customers and not just your own personal taste.
Right.
Because there were a few things that when we opened, we were like, these are awesome, let's get 60 of them, and then our customers didn't care for them.
Right.
So I would say, like, you've got to start small and slow with with things that maybe you love it, but then other people will love something else.
I think that's a balance too between, well, for you, it's a little bit easier because for us in radio, it's like, it's not like people buy the product. I mean, people buy advertising from us, but when we make a content change, it's not like somebody votes by.
It's hard to buy direct feedback. Yeah.
But sometimes we'll get feedback from listeners to say, you should bring this back, you bring that back. And, that's good feedback, but there, for every one person that says, I like that show, there might be 10 that say, I hate that show.
Yeah.
And I would imagine it's a little bit the same for you with your products. However, the difference is if it sells, then you keep it. And if not, then you ditch it.
Exactly. Yes.
So for those out there, I think I know the answer to this, but there might be those watching and saying, it seems like retail would be a tough business to go into in today's day and age, especially. So, especially a brick and mortar store. Talk about that decision and what makes you guys unique.
Yeah. So, it's definitely a challenge that we face is, competing with online retailers and stuff. But I think that so many people still crave the shopping experience of going into a store, not having to sift through, 7 million products online and worrying about what the quality is and stuff like that. You can come to our store. So many things we have out that you can actually try and play with. You can bring your kids in and see what they actually are drawn to and what they like. Right. So that's what really sets us apart is our interactive experience. We have tons of board games out to play. We have a bunch of different toys. We have a kiddie ride. That's a 57 Chevy.
Oh, sweet.
We have an arcade game with retro arcade, Atari games on it. So, it's just so much more than just clicking and getting something sent to your house. It's a shopping and play experience.
Right. So instead of buying a bunch of things that, you end up not using or that your child doesn't play with, it's more of a guaranteed thing that if they go to the store and like it, they're probably going to take it home and like it.
Yeah, exactly.
So for how long does the average customer, average family spend in the store?
Yeah, it definitely differs, but if people have kids with them, they spend, up to an hour probably. So, I would say if you're going to bring your kids into the store, make sure you have some time.
Right.
Because sometimes, you see a lot of conflict where parents will bring kids in and they're like, oh, we got to go. You got soccer practice, and the kids just want to stay and keep playing. So it's more fun if you don't have, a strict time limit on your stay.
So you're researching the items. Is there a way to come up with unique items, or is that the goal? Are you trying to find unique items that are harder to find at bigger retailers?
Definitely. I think that we curate a different sort of collection than what you're going to find at like the Walmart or Target or Five Below toy aisle.
Right.
So it's not going to be all the, like Paw Patrol, like licensed things. It's a lot more toys that are more creative, open-ended, stuff that's not just like, oh, it's tied into this TV show that my kids likes. It's going to be, a little bit more unique and interesting.
Are you trying to also find toys that are not just fun to play with, but maybe educational at the same time?
Yeah, we definitely have a really great like science section. We just brought in a bunch of cool like a telescope, metal detector, microscope, things like that. So, and we have a lot of building kits of different types. So definitely a lot of educational toys.
Because I think as a parent, that's certainly something that would be appealing instead of, your kids looking at screens all day or, playing video games, to play something that actually, there's a learning experience involved with it. And you've got a 2-year-old as well. So talk about that mix and how that's beneficial in a couple ways.
Yeah. So yeah, Clover, she loves coming in the store every single day. She begs to come in, and we usually let her in. And it always entails cleaning up after her and stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, we were saying that she really gives us good feedback of, we'll bring in a toy and have it out, and then she'll just be obsessed with some of them and really love it. And so then I know I can confidently, recommend it to other people who have 2-year-olds or books that she loves and just wants to read over and over.
Right. And you mentioned too, it's the perfect job to really, bring your kid to it.
Yeah, like the most family-friendly work environment you can have.
Right. Where did the name come from? Funky Planet Toys. I always like the process of what names did you go through? There were probably some others that were in the mix. So tell us about how the name came about.
Yeah, so it took us a while to land on Funky Planet. We were definitely, deliberating for a while. I remember a couple that we thought of were Koi Koi Toys, which is like Koi Koi is like a Japanese card game that we like. So that was kind of like, we have a lot of sort of Asian aesthetic things. So that was kind of trying to bring that in, but we ixnayed that one because nobody knows
like they're right.
Yeah. And then we were thought of like World Famous Toy Shop or something that was kind of goofy, like, bragging, but nobody actually knows who you are because you just opened. But yeah, we landed on Funky Planet. I really love our name because it's, a planet is like, it's something that you visit, and it's an experience, not just, a place to shop or whatever. And so it's like, you're coming into our world and going to have fun for a while. And then Funky, it sort of brings in the uniqueness that it's going to be stuff that you're not going to see everywhere. It's going to be things that are like a little bit funny or interesting or just new to you.
Right. What's been the biggest surprise or challenge for you that you've had to deal with since you've been in business?
Oh, that's a tough question. I would say, sort of, sometimes kind of retaining customers, getting new customers in. I feel like advertising is kind of a challenge for us. It's like we try something and it kind of works, and then we try something else. And so, I feel like the best way that we've been able to advertise is just like word of mouth, and people sure. like buying gift certificates for other people who didn't know about us and stuff like that. But we're always surprised by, people come in, we've been open for 3 years, and they go, oh, I didn't know you were here and stuff. So I think, kind of, spreading the word has probably been the biggest challenge.
It does take a ton of repetition and education to get in, even after 3 years, even after 30 years, if there's still people that don't know you.
Yeah.
And I think, the other thing that we forget is there are people like you moving into the community every day. Like, we always tend to think that it's the same people that have been here for years, but you're living proof that that's not the case.
Yeah.
So there's different people that you need to reach every day. I think for you, probably the biggest challenge is if you can get them in the store, you probably have a pretty high repeat rate of them coming back, I would think.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's just getting people in the door. I think too with like specialty toy stores, there's a conception that it's going to be expensive. And right. So, a lot of times people maybe like avoid coming in because they don't want to spend a lot of money. And then they finally come in and they're surprised that it's so affordable. So I would say, give us a chance and check out the prices. They'll be pleasantly surprised.
How are you able to control prices a little bit?
Well, if you have never researched the specialty toy industry, you'll be surprised by how many different companies there are. There are so many different suppliers that we can work with and that we do work with. We have about 100 different suppliers in the store.
Right.
And so, it's really just, picking and choosing who's got that best blend of, affordability and quality, because it's easy to fill a store with, a bunch of stuff that's really expensive, but we really are try to be discerning about, what's affordable, but also good quality.
Right. I like to ask some questions about your daily routine and habits. Now you've got a 2-year-old, so I'm going to assume that whether you want to be or not, you're probably a morning person.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that your nature, or have you always been a morning person, or
well,
the 2-year-old shapes that?
I'm more the morning person, and my husband's the night person. Okay. So I always do the morning routine with her. Wake up, and she has a little poo toy that she has to play with every single morning. So that's our routine. Is wake up, change your diaper, and play with poo.
Yeah.
And then we drink our coffee and stuff, and we usually split the shift halfway with childcare and being at the store. So one of us will come in from 10 to 2, and then the other one will be with Clover, and then we switch in the middle of the day. So it's really wonderful. That's one of my favorite things about my job is that I get to do, part of my day with my family, and then part of the day working in the store.
Right. A couple more questions for you. Have you had any mentors or influences in the business world or in your life that have really been beneficial to you from a business standpoint?
Let's see. I would say that just like the community of other business owners out there have been really helpful. Like on Main Street and other, sort of just networking with other people. Like I mentioned, on our opening day where like Martha at Epicurean Fair totally stayed with us. And, there's just a great tight-knit community like on our block. And I think, in the city in general. I can't pinpoint like one person, but
Was your family or your husband's family, were they entrepreneurial?
No, not all. We're a family of like teachers and musicians and stuff. So we were kind of the first to ever go into business. But we're kind of oddballs.
Where do you see the next, say, 3 years going for the store? What are some goals that you have?
We would love to. It kind of just depends on how sales continue to go and everything, but we would love to expand into a bigger space someday. We would love to open up a second location. Right. We would love to have like a St. Charles store or something across the river.
Sure.
So it'd be great to hire an employee someday. So all of those are definitely like in the back of our head that we're, looking for those opportunities.
Right. One piece of advice you would give to somebody who's thinking of starting a business?
Yeah. I would say it's kind of like, I've heard this with like having a child where it's like, you can't be prepared,
right.
Like it's just so scary and you just have to start scared.
Right.
And so that's true about having a child and having a business where it's, there's just going to be, you can research and you can do your preparation and read books and get advice, but, there's so much you're just not going to know until you take the plunge and do it. So,
right.
I would say like, don't stop yourself from starting just because you feel scared or unprepared.
My wife always said that about kids. Like if you wait till you're ready, you'll never have one.
Yeah, exactly.
and I think that's maybe kind of an unfortunate trend that's happening in our country, as a lot of younger people are saying, well, we'll just never have one.
Yeah.
And hopefully that doesn't happen with businesses, but because it does sometimes, maybe the perception of it is, boy, that seems like a struggle. And it is a struggle, but that's kind of the fun part of it too, is solving that puzzle, I think.
Yeah. And I think that there's some easy things that you can do to have success. Like, I hear the stat that like, so many small businesses close within the first 1 year or 2 years of something. And, you've got to be prepared financially to have that safety net of, like if we don't make a bunch of sales at all in our first 6 months, we can stay open and wait until people do hear about us. And just, easy things like I've seen places that open and they don't even have like a big sign. So you can't even tell that they're there, or they don't update their Google listing with their hours or have a website, or, there's so many things that you can do very cheaply that are just so impactful.
I think that statistic is accurate, of course, about small businesses not making it. But I think for someone like you guys, one benefit you have is there maybe isn't a plan B. This is like a lot of those businesses are not really, it's not that they're not businesses, but they're more hobbies in some cases, where you guys are all in. This is what you're going to do. And you almost have to make it work.
Yeah.
As we wrap up, just how can people find out more information about you? What are your hours and where can we find you?
Yeah, so we are open Thursday through Monday. We're at 10 East Broadway, right down by the Lincoln and Douglas statues. We have a Facebook and Instagram and a website, funkyplanettoys.com. We keep all those updated with, what new products are coming in the store, just all the fun stuff that's going on. So we'd love to see you definitely stop in, because pictures don't do it justice. You got to bring your kids in and have them play, and they'll love it.
Well, Sage, thanks so much for coming in on your day off, on your weekend.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for coming in. Appreciate it. Best of luck to you. Congratulations on your 3 years of success, and here's to many more.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.